Hello, everyone. This is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. I am a political experimental economist and just sharing my experience in terms of velocity banking and becoming a millionaire on paper in general. So, my experience started in Savannah, Georgia. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. I grew up in public housing, so for about 20 to 22 years of my life, I lived in public housing with my mom and one brother. I worked in the food and hospitality, hospitality industries in Savannah. Savannah was a segregated area, so where it was particularly two major groups, blacks and whites, and in public housing, we were segregated basically to one area and one area of the community. I was 20 years of age when I graduated from high school. So again, I was a 20-year high school graduate. I wanted to make sure that I was one of the first to graduate from high school in my family. Did not have plans on necessarily going to college. It was in the background, but I thought about it. I was able to get into a program at Savannah State University. It took me maybe 5.5 years to get my BS in political science. I worked again at a number of industries. One of my longest jobs was a case manager working with low income individuals in general. So I moved from Savannah to Texas. I moved from Texas to the Atlanta area. Lived in an apartment in the Atlanta area for about 3 years, about 2 to 3 years. At that point, started looking for a home. I was able to secure a home, but I decided at that particular time in 2007 and 2008 to make sure that I had a home 2007, 2008 that was affordable. So I made sure that my rent on my home would be no more than $800 a month. And two, I sought HUD homes that have been foreclosed, needed some work. So I got my first property for $105,000, which was a HUD home. So from there, I kind of like, oh man, how am I going to pay for this? How is this going to happen? From there, in 2008, I got one roommate. That didn't work out for the first 2 months. Got a second roommate. That did not work out again. So finally, I had a third roommate. This was an older woman that was commuting between Macon, Georgia, and the Atlanta area. That was successful. So from about, I would say, 2000, 2009 to maybe 2000, trying to remember how long it was. So for about 7 or 8 years, we lived together. So about 7 to 8 years, we lived together, and the roommate was only paying me $400 a month. $400 a month for about a couple of years. Right now, individuals are paying about $400 a month just for a phone. What I took with that $400 a month was I paid down my debt and I used that extra money to grow wealth. The roommate moved with me from my first $105,000 home till we moved until another home that I purchased for about $61,000. This was a condo. That mortgage was 347. Again, the roommate was paying 400, so that freed up cash flow. From that cash flow, I continue to live below my means. If you want to increase your wealth, your economic standing, and your quality of life, bottom line, within a capitalist society, living below your means. This is not political science. This is not political economics. It's just simply living below your means. So when I was getting the $400 a month from the roommate, that was going down to pay down my debt and also carry the other home. So that's one home. My roommate continued to stay with me. We moved, I found another home and the roommate moved in with me also. That home was at $47,000. This was a townhome in Georgia. That mortgage, I think, went down to $247 a month. Still, the number of years inflation had increased. So from $400 a month, stay flat, never raised the rate on my roommate. So the number of years, inflation was eating up this $400 a month, but it stayed the same. So eventually I was really getting maybe $200 a month from my roommate at some point just because of inflation. Now, still, I was not taking this money and just going on vacations. I was not taking this money and consistently buying clothes. I was taking a part of this money to reduce my costs, to increase my wealth and buy assets. But as you can see, over time, inflation eats up and it never went up. Okay. And 2000, I think it was maybe 2000 and 2011, I think. Need to go back. So in 2011, I acquired my fourth property, and that was a condominium. I lost that, and I filed for bankruptcy. Within that, the condo association was not necessarily paying, I think, all the bills, the water bill. I did not do my due diligence, and my realtor did not necessarily do. It's not their, I guess, responsibility due diligence. So I was carrying one, two, three, four mortgages. But what helped me was the $400 a month, which is now eaten up by inflation, which is maybe down to $100 a month. So I was still focused on what did I want to do. Okay. Also in Savannah, Georgia, I was a teen father. So I had to pay child support. So I paid my child support. I think I've been a responsible individual. So one of the key things, if you want to make it in this capitalist free market society, there will be challenges in front of you. There will be institutional challenges, individual challenges, communal challenges. I decided to live with a roommate. Not everyone can do that. For some, it can be done and it's possible. But one of the key things to using your biweekly pay in velocity banking is simply living below your means. Again, it's just the numbers. You bring in now for this March, I'll be bringing in biweekly checks of 16, I'm gonna just round it off, 97. Okay. And those two checks are going to be on 3/8 and 3/22. I put together a budget the best that I could, just based on the numbers, so I know what are my expenses. I did some of the work by watching other YouTubers. Yeah, I watched some cat videos. Yes, I watched some shorts. But for the most part, I've been concentrating on, for since I could remember, how to increase my wealth and my assets. The one key thing that I've done over the last 20 years, or at least 10 years, well, 20 years, living below my means. No matter where I live, I always try to live below my means. In California, in Georgia, in North Carolina, in living below your means. The roommate was a critical factor in terms of taking the resources that I had, plus my biweekly check, to get up to 4 properties. But again, I filed bankruptcy. Can't remember what year, but I filed bankruptcy. Seven, after 7. Um, I was doing kind of well, so I probably got definitely over leveraged myself. That was just the bottom line. Things were going well. The roommate was still with me. I had some more cash, and I wanted to use it, so I got another property. Um, well, if a tenant wasn't paying, then that had to come out of my pocket, which kind of over leveraged. But I was able to acquire 4 properties with an additional $400 a month as a roommate, plus on my biweekly paycheck. So yes, you can acquire additional properties, additional assets. Um, you may have to move from your community to live in other places that can help you to acquire more wealth, and then move back at some particular time. But the main objective, or one of the main opportunities to become a millionaire, is just simply looking at your biweekly paycheck. How are you using the biweekly paycheck? Living below your means, or frugally, until you get some assets to pay, possibly. So again, the numbers are the numbers, the math is the math. Living below my means helped me to acquire 4 properties and losing 1. So right now I'm carrying 3 mortgages, and I'm paying 3 mortgages off of my bi-weekly salary when things do not go right. So I try to live within my means until I can get the three properties paid off and that they're asset producing for me. So it wasn't hard. It was not hard. Even without a roommate, my objective was to live below my means so that I can obtain assets. So can you do velocity banking biweekly? Absolutely. As I said in a previous video, going into March right now, I have, I think, approximately $190 in cash across 3 accounts. So right now I have $190.55 until the 8th when I get paid. Bi-weekly paycheck using Velocity Banking to improve my credit situation. Velocity Banking has worked well for me. It has helped me to reduce personal credit card debt so much so that now I've simply moved on to my business credit card debt as a no-brainer. So what I'm starting with, again, in March, I have a credit card that has a $5,500 debt on it. When I get paid on the 8th, I'm going to take that entire $1,697 because I've had some lessons learned. I can now pay my rent and my mortgage through my credit card, not my checking account, and gain points and gain cash rewards. So that's additional money. That $1,697 is going directly into my checking account. Directly into my checking account. Immediately that day, I'm transferring it onto the business card that has $5,500 on it. This has a minimum payment of $173. So as soon as I take this on the 8th, so as soon as I take this bi-weekly paycheck on the 8th, dump the entire paycheck onto this 5,500 and credit card, will satisfy the $173 monthly payment that I would have had to pay just separately. So that's freed up $173 immediately. Now I still have access to $1,697. That is will go toward paying the utilities. I want to try to keep it as much as I can inside of the credit card to bring down the average daily balance, but the utilities at my apartment complex have to be paid by the fifth of the month. But as of now, I've already paid the rent for this month using a credit card. And all of this is made possible by me simply sitting in front of YouTube, looking at how it's done, and trying it, verifying it, and then sharing it with you. So you can possibly become a millionaire off of your salary bi-weekly if you just simply see where your money is going. As I pointed out earlier, I enjoyed going to a restaurant, 2 burgers and 2 fries, $3.99. And that was in 2023. Now it's $6.99. So even with the inflation that we're experiencing now, this is a 72% increase in just this one restaurant. So I got to make a decision. Am I continuing to go and be 72% increase? And that's just one item. Everything else has also increased. And there's a general inflation, as I talked about here, from 400 to 200. So yeah, to become possibly a multi-millionaire, you just simply have to make the decision, where is my bi-weekly paycheck going? Where is it going? And you definitely can have other responsibilities in general. But over the course of your lifetime, I think according to the Census Bureau or census information, you're probably gonna make maybe close to $1 million. But it's a matter of how you're spending. In addition to the roommate, taxes. Once I started the business of living with a roommate and reporting it, I guess that'll be another story. Maybe that's another day. I'll just leave that. But the bottom line is live below your means. Use velocity banking. How far could I have gone further with a roommate if I would have been using velocity banking starting in 2008? Velocity banking has been great for me. So great so that I've been able to move from my personal credit card debt, which I'm really carrying only one card because I'm still going in between taking a cash advance off that credit card and paying down further debt that's higher. Because this credit card is at 20, I think 26.9, 26.4%, 26.49% in general. But yeah, velocity banking, I'm an advocate for it. I'm gonna continue to look at it. It has its pros and cons in general, but again, velocity banking is simply one financial strategy to help you reduce your debt using a line of credit. Again, this is not political science. This is not political economics. It's simply you just using your biweekly paycheck to put money to the side when possible. But notice that in general, the items around you. I grew up again in public housing, and where the federal government, not federal government, the feds talk about a 2% interest rate. The community that I lived in, I think maybe it was more of 20 to 30% annual rate because we didn't have access to different levels of goods and services. I am now living in a zip code where I have access to about 4 or 5 major grocery stores that are competing for my business. There's a Whole Foods, there's a Lucky, there's a Safeway, there's a grocery outlet, and then I think there's a smaller store. So your zip codes matters in terms of how much you will pay to live. So the sum and the closeout, yeah, velocity banking can be done on a biweekly paycheck very easy. You're going to pay your cell phone bill, light bill, cable, internet, gas, grocery. All you need to do is simply decide that early on, I'm going to put that money on a credit card as soon as I can get it. So as soon as I can get hold of that biweekly $1,697, I'm immediately putting it on this credit card, bringing down the balance, average daily balance that's calculated, simple interest, and also satisfying the payment. So thank you very much. If you'd like more information, if you'd like to become a client and I can see about helping you in general, my contact number, email is in there. Just call or email me anytime, holidays, evening hours. Just give me a call and let's get started. Let's look at how I can help you take your biweekly paycheck if you are prepared to just simply make changes. That is it. That is it. Again, I really love velocity banking. I just keep imagining where would I have been with velocity banking, with a roommate, with living below my means, starting in 2008. But I'm here and now, and I will continue to use velocity banking. Thank you very much. You have a great day.